Old house, people warned me never to open the attic, but I was too curious, and curiosity is what almost killed me. The house was quiet, too quiet. Creaky floorboards, dusty windows, and that strange smell like something old was rotting. The attic door had 5 locks, and still, something knocked from the inside every night at exactly 2:13 a.m. I tried to ignore it, but the knocking got louder, and one night I heard my name. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed the keys, opened each lock with shaking hands, and pulled the door open. I turned to run, but the door slammed shut, and then the voice whispered again, "Now you live here too." People still live in that house. They say the attic stays locked, but every night at 2:13, someone inside still whispers my name.
Everyone gets spam calls, right? But this one, it didn't want to sell me anything. It wanted to warn me. It started last week. An unknown number kept calling me every night at exactly 2:14 a.m. No voicemail, just a call that lasted 3 rings and then stopped. Out of curiosity, I picked it up, but there was no voice, only breathing, heavy, uneven, and then my name. I blocked the number, but it didn't stop. Now it comes from different numbers, and every call says a little more. Last night, the voice said, "Don't go to work tomorrow." I didn't listen. I went to work anyway, and that's when things got worse. At exactly 2:14 p.m., my phone rang again. Same breathing, same voice, but this time it whispered, "Look to your left." There was nothing there. But a second later, all the lights went out. The store security footage later showed something terrifying, right before the blackout. There was a blurry shape standing behind me, but no one else saw it. I quit that job the next day, but the calls didn't stop. Tonight, the voice said something new. "You're running." Every morning at 9 a.m. sharp, an old man set up a small wooden stall near the corner of Willow Street. A hand-painted sign read, "Time for sale, 1 moment at a time." Mia stopped. "Is this a joke?" she asked. The man smiled warmly. "No, time is real, the only thing you can never get back. But I can give you a second chance, if you're brave." "What if I only want to say sorry?" she whispered. "Then choose the right minute," he said gently. She handed him a folded note from her pocket, a message she'd written every night but never sent. "Mom," she said softly. Her mother turned, surprised. "I'm sorry about everything. You didn't deserve those words." Her mother's eyes shimmered. "You're my girl. That's all I ever needed." Mia reached out, hugged her, held on. The sand ran out. Everything faded. Mia blinked and she was back on Willow Street. The sun had shifted. The old man smiled as if he already knew. "Did it help?" he asked. She nodded, but her eyes carried a strange sadness. "I told you," the man said gently. "Every minute you relive takes something from your present. Time doesn't like to be touched." She stared at him, stunned. "I lost my memories?" "Not all," he replied. "But what you traded was the price of peace." But weeks later, she returned to Willow Street. The stall was gone, just an empty sidewalk, and a note on the bench. "Time moves forward. Don't wait to say what matters." Years later, Mia grew older. She became a therapist, helping people deal with grief, regrets, things they wish they'd said. In every room she entered, she placed one thing on the shelf, that little hourglass, and a note beside it. 1 minute is enough, if you use it right. If you had 1 minute back, what would you say? I was done running. That night, I answered the call, but before I could speak, it said, "You need to see what really happened. Go back to the cabin." I had rented a cabin a month ago, a solo trip after my sister died. It was supposed to help me clear my mind, but something happened there I couldn't remember. When I got there, I found her journal under a loose floorboard. It was my sister's, her final entry. The calls warned me too, but I ignored them. I broke down. The voice wasn't a threat. It was a warning. trying to save me from the same fate. Last night, the call came again, but this time, it just said, "Thank you for listening." And the line went silent forever.
Jake was just a regular guy. He spent most of his time scrolling through social media, working part-time at a grocery store, and living alone in a small studio apartment. One night, while walking home, he noticed an old flip phone lying on a bus stop bench. It buzzed once, even though it had no SIM card. Curiosity got the better of him. At 3:03 a.m. sharp, the phone rang. Not his smartphone, the flip phone. The screen lit up with one word, unknown. His heart skipped. He hesitated, then answered. A chilling whisper echoed, "Don't take the train tomorrow." Then, silence. He didn't sleep. The next day, curiosity turned into panic when he saw on the news the exact train he takes every day had derailed. Several were dead. If he had gone, was it a warning? A prank or something else? That night, the phone rang again. Jake stared at the ringing flip phone. Same time, 3:03 a.m. He didn't want to pick it up, but something made him. He answered. This time, the voice whispered, "You saved yourself, but the debt is not paid." Jake's chest tightened. He threw the phone across the room. That morning, Jake tried to destroy the phone. He stomped it, smashed it, even microwaved it. Nothing worked. It just kept ringing every night at 3:03 a.m. One night, the phone said something new. One life spared, one must be claimed. Then the screen showed his sister's name. Jake raced to his sister's apartment. Bursting in, he found her asleep, but just behind her, a shadowy figure stood by the window. He screamed, the figure vanished, but when he looked down, the flip phone was in her hand and it was ringing. Everyone at Crest Hill High whispered about room 313 because it didn't exist on any school map. But one rainy afternoon, Josh saw the door wide open. He peeked in and saw an old classroom with desks and blackboards like from the 1950s. He stepped inside. The door slammed shut. One girl slowly turned to him and whispered,
"You're late."
Josh ran to the door, but it was gone. Just a solid wall. And then the teacher entered, but he wasn't human. Josh backed into a desk, heart pounding, as the inhuman teacher slowly approached. The teacher rasped, "Take your seat." And suddenly Josh's legs moved on their own. The ghost students turned to their books, written in a language Josh couldn't understand. Josh tried to scream, but no sound came out. Then the clock struck 3:13. The walls started bleeding. A bell rang. Every ghost stood up, eyes glowing red. But just as they moved toward him, Josh woke up on the hallway floor, soaking wet, heart racing. Room 313 gone. He never spoke of that day again, but some nights he still hears the bell ring at 3:13. It was 9:37 p.m. when Ryan pulled into the driveway of his new rental house. He noticed the porch light flicker as he walked up. He knocked twice on the door, joking to himself, "Anyone home?" No one answered, but the door creaked open on its own. He stepped inside and instantly felt colder. The air was thick. Suddenly, a whisper echoed from the basement. "You're late." Ryan stood frozen. The whisper came again. "Come down." His heart raced. Was it the wind? A prank? He turned to leave, but the door slammed shut behind him. Then he heard footsteps, but not from upstairs. A child's voice echoed, "You took my room." Ryan ran for the window, but it wouldn't open. The last thing he heard was breathing behind him. I booked a simple Uber. It was 11 p.m. and I was heading home from a friend's place. Everything seemed normal, until the driver suddenly turned off the GPS route onto a dark road I didn't recognize. I leaned forward and asked, "Excuse me, I think you missed a turn." He didn't answer, just kept driving faster. I checked the map on my phone. We were nowhere near my route, and suddenly, there was no signal. I shouted, "I stopped the car!" He didn't. He locked the doors and just kept going deeper into the woods. I looked around for anything. A rock, my bag, anything to protect myself. But then, the car stopped in front of an abandoned house. He turned around, finally looking at me. He smiled and said, "We're here." I froze. I did the only thing I could, and I kicked the door with everything I had and ran. I never took a night Uber again.